issues. We have a small system that's going to be brought down here.
Stand in front of the camera.
You're going to have to get close. Get as close as you can, because this is not the best system. Can you mostly hear me? Okay. You can hear me now. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your patience. We do have just one other program note, which I need to explain to you. There are always last-minute things, as you know. The national anthem is one of those last-minute things. And those of you who know me and Barb, she is our backup. So she has said she will lead us in the national anthem if you all sing robustly with her. And if you don't sing, I won't live to see tomorrow. So I am Brad Martin, chaplain of the Wilmington Fire Department. My co-chaplain, Father Michael Murray, and I are very highly honored to be with you today for the purpose of dedicating the Lakeview Road Memorial. We very much appreciate that you are all here honoring the memory and honoring the sacrifice made that fateful night, September 24th, 2016, by Jerry Fickes, Ardythe Hope, and Chris Leach. We remember Jerry and Ardythe and Chris as fellow firefighters, as friends, as precious loved ones. We will never forget them. We also honor the heroic actions taken by many fighting the fire, actions of rescue and recovery at 1927 Lakeview Road, Canby Park, 5 years ago tonight. Now would you please direct your attention to the presentation of colors and our national anthem. Detail, hold, left, face.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Today we mark a milestone, 5 years. These days and years have been tough, challenging, harrowing, days of anguish and loss and turmoil, first and foremost on the part of the families whose loss cannot be calculated, and also for all of us who were here that night, those whose physical and emotional and psychological wounds still at times seem as raw as ever. It has been a long 5 years for each and every member of the Wilmington Fire Department. Now, with the dedication of this memorial, we turn a page. This is a day which looks forward to continued healing, hope, and encouragement. A day to celebrate the establishment of a true and fitting and beautiful memorial. You will have the chance later to drive past the site. The Benevolent Fund, through those whose vision has become a reality, has done a great work. A phrase from a dedication held long ago has been running through my mind. You will recognize it. In a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave ones, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or distract. Now we turn in prayer to the one who holds Jerry, Ardythe, and Chris, who holds our life, the one whose love is eternal, unchanging, and undying. Let us pray. Loving God, today we remember courage and honor and duty. We remember love of family and love of job. We remember and we honor Jerry Fickes, Ardythe Hope, and Chris Leach. As we dedicate this place of loss and suffering, we commit ourselves to the things they lived for, that we might follow them. Be with us now to continue your great work of healing and hope, that together we might rise up to be the people you call us to be. In your good, holy, and loving name we pray. Amen. I'll now call on firefighter Peter Vincent, who will speak for the Benevolent Fund.
Thank you. To the family of our fallen firefighters, our past and present members of the IAFF, distinguished guests, friends, and community members. It is with great honor that I am able to participate in this ceremony and speak on behalf of the Wilmington Firefighters Benevolent Fund. This fund is the nonprofit branch of the Wilmington Firefighters Union, Local 1590. While the fund is young and formed only a few years ago, it has in that time found itself in a position to not only take guardianship over the Lakeview property, but also to memorialize it. Through the dedication and devotion by our union members, and particularly the labors of Jeffrey Shaw, Thousands of dollars have been raised and generously donated, along with countless hours given to help transform the property into a proper memorial in order to honor the lives and sacrifices of Ardythe Hope, Chris Leach, and Jerry Fickes. It is important to honor and preserve the consecrated ground of 1927 Lakeview Road, and the Benevolent Fund is here to help ensure this continues. There are a lot of people that were directly and indirectly involved in the fire at Lakeview Road, and a lot of people deeply affected by it, naturally. While we continue to try and heal from that event, the Benevolent Fund recognizes that it's okay to still be sad and emotional 5 years later. Pain that deep saddens the soul. And together we grieve the outcomes of that day and carry it with us. We're human, and being human means we take care of each other, because together we are capable of great and amazing things, things that are designed to balance out the imbalance that comes from events such as Lakeview. The Benevolent Fund and the Lakeview Memorial are examples of this, in which we strive to help carry on the memories of the ones we lost, while also supporting causes that are important to firefighters and their families. Firefighters and first responders are a unique bunch of people. You get a smattering of personalities, ideas, and beliefs all mixed up into this group of people who just want to try and help, to make a positive difference. Gandhi once said, "My life is my message." And firefighters tend to echo that sentiment through their actions in both times of emergency and times of normalcy. Firefighting is an important job, one that specifically exists to help all members of the community. Unfortunately, sometimes that comes at a high cost and sacrifice. Therefore, it is important we preserve that message with this memorial, that the sacrifices made by Ardythe, Jerry, and Chris mattered. They were public servants who gave decades of service to the community of Wilmington. They are loved by their families and their friends. That message will shine through in all that you'll see and hear today, both in this ceremony and in the memorial. And so if life can be a message, and we apply that to the Benevolent Fund, then our message is simply this: to honor our fallen, we will provide support to noble and philanthropic causes as they relate to firefighters and their families. We will also support any future incidents, given the many unknowns that firefighters face, should we ever need it. And we will continue to care and watch over the Lakeview Road Memorial for generations to come.
Thank you, Pete. Lieutenant John Cothray, President of Local 1590.
Thank you, Reverend Brad. Thank you to Chief Looney for allowing me to speak today. I am John. I am John Cothray, and I'm the president of Wilmington Locals 1590. As I look out over this crowd today, I'm reminded how much love and support we, the Wilmington Fire Department, have been given over these past 5 years. Our public safety family has stood by our side, and for that, we are grateful. So much emphasis has been put on the Wilmington Fire Department, but I believe sometimes these other public safety entities have not been recognized for their roles that night. St. Francis EMS, Newcastle County Paramedics, Wilmington Police, Newcastle County Volunteer Fire Companies, and the nurses and doctors of Christiana Care also lived through that painful night alongside us, and they have not received the recognition they deserve for their roles that night. On behalf of Local 1590, we thank you. Thank you to Jeffrey Shaw for his hard work and dedication to this memorial. He took his vision and made it a reality. Without him, this memorial would not be possible. The Lakeview Memorial will forever stand as a location where all members, past, present, and future, will have a place to pay tribute to our fallen brothers and sisters. Sister. My hope is that the memorial will be a new beginning for everyone that was directly and indirectly involved that night. My hope is that we don't necessarily move on, but move forward and get closure. My hope is that this will become a place where we can remember the good times we had with Ardythe, Chris, and Jerry. And that being said, I'd like to just share real quick stories for all three. So the night before, September 23rd, I was on Engine 5, and Engine 5 attended a football game at Tower Hill, and they were playing DMA. Anyone that knew Artie knows that she was just a social butterfly. I remember looking over towards the concession stand and seeing her walking back, eating a hot dog. All the while, she was smiling and laughing and talking to everyone she came in contact with. Yeah, if I had to guess, she was probably bragging on her 3 daughters, Ariel, Alexis, and Ardavia. Jerry, way too many stories, but what I remember most about him, and excuse my language, is his shit-eating grin. Every time he was up to something, which was usually all the time, he always had this grin on his face. Those who know him will understand these few words: crossword puzzles, dunks, and a wallet full of Dunkin' Donut coupons. That was Jerry. And again, Chris, too many stories, and I'm sure you have very many. But this one came about a month before September 24th at the Seaford tournament. Him and I were sharing a room. And as I woke up to somebody talking and sitting on my bed, apparently Chris was a sleepwalker, or he was that night. When I yelled for him to get out of bed, he just mumbled something that I couldn't understand and proceeded to try to lie down in bed with me. After about a minute, he made his way back to his bed. Next morning, he had no recollection of anything happening. So those were just a few stories, and I know you all have your own, so that's what my hope is, that you will think of these stories in your own when you go to Lakeview. My hope is that our current and future firefighters will be told of the sacrifice that was made that night by Chris, Artie, and Jerry, and these brave men and women will strive to be courageous and selfless as them. I want to leave you with a few words from Father Michael Judge, the FDNY chaplain, and they came from his final homily on September 10th, 2001. Good days and bad days, up days, down days, sad days, happy days, but never a boring day on this job. You will do what God has called you to do. You show up. You put one foot in front of the other. You get on the rig, and you go out and you do the job, which is a mystery and a surprise. You have no idea when you get on that rig, no matter how big the call, no matter how small the call, you have no idea what God is calling you to do. But he needs you. He needs me. He needs all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Chief of Fire, John Looney.
Good afternoon and welcome to our Lakeview Memorial dedication. First and foremost, welcome to Katie Leach, Laura Fickes, Fran Leach, Ariel, and Ardavia Hope. You're always in our thoughts and prayers as we go about our business. To all the invited guests, to all our colleagues on our big public safety team that are out there, we appreciate all of you coming here today to honor our fallen. To the Wilmington Benevolent Fund, Bobby McCullen, Pete Vincent, Jeffrey Shaw, outstanding work. More importantly, to Lieutenant Jeffrey Shaw, you had a mission, you had a vision, a plan, you executed it. The memorial is absolutely magnificent and humbling, and it will be a symbol for years to come, honoring our fallen. September 24th, 2016 was a tragic day in the history of the Wilmington Fire Department. The immediate loss of Chris and Jerry was devastating, not only for our department, but was felt throughout the firefighting community. Firefighters Ardythe Hope and Brad Speakman suffered significant burn injuries requiring intensive treatment. Unfortunately, Artie passed away on December 1st, 2016 due to her injuries. Chris, Artie, Jerry paid the ultimate sacrifice, protecting the citizens of Wilmington. And it's hard to believe the 5th anniversary is upon us, but it's important that we never forget their sacrifice. So many lives were suddenly changed on September 24th, 2016. The sacred ground this memorial was built on is everlasting symbol of our obligation to never forget Chris, Artie, Jerry, at that ultimate sacrifice. And to all the WFD personnel, continue to perform at that highest level. And always remember, Chris, Artie, and Jerry are with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I'm going to ask Mrs. Laura Fickes to please come forward to share regarding Jerry.
Unlike many WFD firefighters, Jerry wasn't from Wilmington. He was born in a suburb of Chicago and grew up in the Kansas City area, loving collecting baseball cards and enjoying neighborhood football games on their front lawn. But life eventually brought us to Delaware, and he became a volunteer with WITN as a way to give back to his community. The volunteer fire service was a new concept for us, but he embraced it fully. He trained every chance he could get. I remember him especially embracing ropes and riggings and confined space rescue. He loved tying every imaginable knot, and I still find some of his handiwork today. Eventually, Jerry left a career behind a desk to join the WFD. Jerry was dedicated to his family. Growing up as the youngest, he wanted all 5 of his siblings to be together. And as an adult, he loved having his kids and I together as a family. He enjoyed being a dad more than anything in the world. He embraced whatever our kids embraced. He was always interested in what they were learning, and he loved sharing his brilliant mind with them. I've asked my kids, how did you know how to do that? And their answer is almost always, Dad taught me. He was the best dad and a wonderful husband. He expected a lot from us and stretched us to our full potential. He believed in what we could accomplish, even if we did not believe it ourselves. His faith was his foundation, and it guided him. He wasn't perfect, as no one is, but as a Christian, he knew this life was temporary compared to the life that we look forward to reuniting with him in one day. It was his faith that guided him to love and serve others, especially those who struggled and were overlooked. One evening while at the Cothrays' home, John asked me how I wanted my burger. He did not ask Jerry. He didn't ask Jerry because he already knew. At that very moment, it occurred to me that Jerry's crew really did know him as well as I did. I know it drove you crazy when he ate all his meals out of a coffee mug, or how he would cut a serving out of the very center of a cake rather than the end, or how he would just nibble the equivalent of a serving rather than take a full serving to begin with, and how eventually he would give up cake and fried foods for Lent and as New Year's resolutions, creating a very complex way of celebrating those firehouse firsts and birthdays, and making pretzels rather than chips the base of nachos. He embraced life with gusto. He loved a good prank. He was terrible at selfies, but he did okay with the crossword puzzles. Many of you were always generous with advice so he could accomplish projects around our home. Jerry was genuinely interested in the many people, young and old, that were woven into his life. My kids and I miss Jerry every single day. He was the rock of our family, so we are very grateful for the stories you share with us about your time with Jerry. It makes us laugh and embrace how fully he lived life. Those stories are priceless to us, and we thank you for them. I'm also reminded how Jerry didn't want any fuss over him. He put others above himself. He was motivated by helping others rather than doing something for recognition. In the past few years, I've learned of things he did for others that no one really knew about. He's been called a hero, but I really think he would simply say he was just doing his job. Gathering here today is hard for me and most of you, especially the Leach and Hope families. I'm honored by the way you've restored the fire scene to a place of reflection. Thank you to everyone who made this possible, especially to Jeffrey Shaw. The last memory I want to share about Jerry is that he was always learning, and he would want what happened here 5 years ago to be a learning opportunity. He would also want you to remember the good, full of life moments that he shared with you rather than what happened here. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. I'd like to call on Ardythe Hope to share regarding her mother. as well. Alexis is off playing volleyball where she is needed.
Thank you. We would like to thank everyone for coming out today. Oh, sorry. Okay. It's a privilege and an honor to speak on behalf of my sisters and in honor of our mother. Okay, I got you. Everyone in the fire department we would like to thank for making this possible in this dedication ceremony. It means so much to us. My sisters and I over the past few years have felt the love and support from each and every single one of you. It's truly a family, and you guys definitely look out for your own. Anyone that knew Mommy knew how much she loved to help her community. She loved to help it so much that no matter where she went, she always knew somebody. And it's honestly an honor that when I go somewhere and they see her in myself. She lived to help people in general as a firefighter and as a nurse, so it's truly an honor to see what her community has done for her. She's our forever hero and will forever be with us. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to call on Katie Leach now to share regarding Chris.
Okay. Good afternoon. I would like to start by thanking Battalion Chief Michael Shaw and his son Jeffrey Shaw for having the vision, determination, and willpower to develop this beautiful memorial in honor of Chris, Jerry, and Artie. I wish Chief Shaw was here to see this memorial that he was so dedicated developing as a place of remembrance and celebration of our beloved firefighters. Thank you to each of you who have donated and supported the memorial and for being here today as we remember the 5-year anniversary of the fire. As many of you know, Chris was my older brother, and I have affectionately been known as Leach's little sister since high school. Not only was he my brother, he was my best friend, my mentor, and my confidant. For those of you that knew Chris, you know he was larger than life. He was passionate about everything. His career, his friends, and most importantly, his family. Chris started his career when he joined Tallyville Fire Company at the age of 17 after being encouraged by his coworker Graham at Happy Harry's. He quickly fell in love with the fire service and he never looked back. After graduating from Salesianum, he attended Virginia Tech where he majored in chemical engineering. However, I think he spent way more time majoring in fire and EMS as he spent all of his time on Tech Rescue, the university's student-run fire and EMS service. Following his first year, he came home and announced to my parents he wanted to be a Wilmington firefighter. And well, the rest is history. He was hired in 2002 as a member of the 32nd class, and to say Chris was passionate about firefighting is probably an understatement. He lived to go to work, to fight fire, to serve his community, and to mentor new recruits. In fact, when Chris was pursuing his bachelor's degree, he wrote in a paper, "I was born to be a firefighter. It is inherently part of who I am. I entered this life at a young age, and I've never looked back. After 20 plus years, I still wake up and enter each new day in my profession with a renewed sense of purpose and drive. I'm excellent at what I do, and I'm respected in my field." Following Chris's death, his coworkers shared memories and tributes of him with our family, including, and I quote, "Having known and worked for Chris is powerful, motivating, and humbling. Saying he was a great firefighter is an understatement. He was a born leader, a jokester, a great man, and an even better father. He was a fireman's fireman, and I mean that wholeheartedly. He was one of those guys where you just automatically knew where he stood when it came to doing his job and doing it the right way. Trust, integrity, honor, ownership, and pride meant something to him. He was the lieutenant, aka boss, you wanted to have if you were an eager and aggressive fireman. he is a legend. As respected as he was as a professional, we all know Chris was quite a jokester and always stirring up trouble. He had nicknames for everyone. Some people had 2 or more, including Caesar, Uncle Buck, B. Greg, Baby Kyle, the Pistols, MJ, Dr. Hefe, Weemsy, Cornflake, to name a few. And then, of course, there was the universal buddy boy. However, most famously, he very affectionately called our mom Franny Baby. In addition, Chris had some famous lines. Relax, I got this. Let's go, buddy boy. I'm not that far along yet. In addition, there are many funny stories and pictures that have Chris in them or with him with some behind-the-scenes involvement. Some of my favorites include Chris and Gabe Bukowski in their gear on a seesaw at the city park, Brad Speakman and Chris in their boxer shorts dancing on the bed of Chris's truck, and I would be remiss if I left out the day he dressed up in a white sheet to bless his shift's church ceremony. The most important thing to Chris was his family. His 3 children, Brendan, Abby, and Megan, were his heart and soul. He was over the moon the day each of them was born, and he was truly dedicated to their happiness and success in life. He was an incredible father. He never missed a game, an event, a school project, or an opportunity to spend time with them. In fact, Chris closed his last promotional packet with, "Most importantly, I've learned and continually learn that there is nothing greater than being a great father to 3 wonderful children." I ask, as you visit the memorial at Lakeview Drive, you think about how Chris, Jerry, and Artie responded to the call that night with their adrenaline pumping, hearts racing, filled with excitement, fear, and anxiety of what they would arrive to. They demonstrated a courage on a grand level that night, as each of our first responders do every day. Battalion Chief Michael Shaw and his son, Lieutenant Jeffrey Shaw, have transformed this place of overwhelming sadness and grief into a beautiful memorial and a place to celebrate the memory of Chris, Jerry, and Artie, and the courage and bravery exhibited by every person that responded to the fire that night. We were all transformed that night by tragedy, and now it is time for us all to have the strength to live our lives with courage, passion, and love, as Chris, Jerry, and Artie did every day. I hope you will come to the memorial to not only acknowledge their sacrifice, but also the good, and celebrate their lives and the influence they had on each of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Katie. The Wilmington Police Pipes and Drums. Lieutenant Jeffrey Shaw will now share with us the vision for the memorial.
Good afternoon, everyone. So happy that the overwhelming response to this event. I just want to thank everyone for coming today. Lakeview Road was a sacred ground for all of us. The vision from day one of this project was simple: to create a beautiful memory to honor our friends, Ardythe, Chris, and Jerry. Along with this vision was a concept, the concept to never let anyone build on this sacred ground. It started way back about roughly 4 years ago when a group of gentlemen from Local 1590 and the Wilmington Fire Department decided to create a memorial for our fallen heroes. A place where we can go and celebrate the lives of our three wonderful friends. A place where we can go and have a cup of coffee or just say hello. None of this would be possible today without the support and help of so many. We had several fundraisers, including engraved paver sales, a helmet raffle, and apparel sales. There's a lot of door knocking that happened, maybe a little bit of begging, calling in favors, and simply just asking for some help. Chris, Jerry, and Ardythe deserve to have a beautiful memorial. The Leach, Fickes, and Hope families deserved to have a beautiful memorial dedicated to their loved ones. The members of the Wilmington Fire Department, Wilmington Firefighters Association Local 1590, and all of our family and friends deserve to have this tribute to our brothers and sister. The highlights of the memorial consist of a beautiful hardscaping layout along with custom personalized benches made out of granite. We can't wait for everyone to see the vision that came to life. We hope that is fitting for all of our heroes. My main portion of this dedication, in my eyes, was thank yous. There's so many thank yous. I know I won't be able to get everybody, but I'm going to try my best. First off, I want to say thank you to the Leach, Fickes, and Hope families. You guys have been supported throughout this entire process. You guys have never said no, and you were open to everything that we had to offer as an organization. Thank you for everything, and thank you for allowing us to do this and be a part of this special day. Brian O'Neill. Nobody here probably knows Brian O'Neill. I know I didn't. Brian O'Neill unfortunately had to get phone calls from me for every day for about a month and a half before he finally told me he was calling the cops because of harassment. Brian O'Neill is responsible for this memorial. Brian O'Neill took ownership of 1927 Lakeview Road, not knowing what it was, not knowing what it meant to us. Brian O'Neill was so gracious to donate the property to the Wilmington Firefighters Benevolent Fund after he found out about the tragedy and where it was located 5 years ago today. Brian, wherever you are, I know you're here. We can't ever thank you for your generosity, and without you, this day wouldn't be possible. So thank you. Kevin Turner was supposed to be here, and he has a family illness, so he wasn't able to make it. But Kevin Turner was the president of Local 1590 when we started this whole process and this vision. Kevin allowed us to use our minds and never told us no and kept pushing us forward. So thank you, Kevin. John Cawthray, president of Local 1590. John has supported everything that we've done so far, never asked any questions, never said no. He continues to support everything we do. So John, thank you very much. Past and present members of Wilmington Firefighters Executive Board. I see a lot of them out there. Thank you for allowing us to use the Wilmington Firefighters Association name. And thank you for your continued support throughout these last couple of years for the Benevolent Fund. Chief John Looney. Chief, thank you for your support, your ideas, your teamwork, and your leadership during the planning of this 5-year anniversary event. With you and your staff, it made it possible. Thank you. Battalion Chief Gordon Davis, I know he's here. Captain Marcella had to step away for a family event, and Lieutenant Lawrence Hines, I'm not sure if he made it, but these three gentlemen were of huge help in today's events. I can't thank them enough. Thank you for your creativity, your help with the fundraisers, but most importantly, the logistics of today's event. Your preparation for today's dedication exceeds anything we could have ever imagined. Thank you. Thank you to the Wilmington Firefighters Benevolent Fund Board of Directors and our assistant. Pete Vincent, Bobby McCullen, I know you're out there somewhere. Thank you both for your unwavering support to this committee and your commitment. Thank you for never giving up, and thank you for keeping this committee going in the right direction. Mike Shaw, Pops, thank you for keeping the logistics and keeping everything organized, but most of all, thank you for your moral support. Special thank you to the liaisons, the families. I don't know where we would be if we didn't have them, especially the Sudlers. Ed and Marty, I'm forever thankful, and so is the committee. A.H. Angerstein's, right across the bridge over there. A.H. Angerstein's, a lot of people don't know, but they secured us a grant which gave us about $80,000 in material to provide this memorial to everyone. E.P. Henry donated all the material through E.P. Henry. E.P. Henry donated all the material through H. Angerstein's. We are so thankful for their efforts. Ryan from Autumn Hill Landscaping, who installed the project, thank you very much. Chris Jaden from Asphalt King, I know you're here, Chris. Chris was the gentleman who donated the services of the blacktop in the rear, which just got completed a few weeks ago. Thanks, Chris. Mario Lopez from Lopez Construction helped donate the asphalt. Super thankful. Andy Pantelis, 4th District Vice President in the International Association of Firefighters. Thank you for your continued support, and thank you for your generous donation. Unfortunately, I can't name everyone in this group, but there's a lot of people that I need to thank. There was a lot of people who did a lot of things behind the scenes. There was guys and girls who cut the grass, pulled the weeds, cleaned up, installed a flagpole, and all the other odds and ends of this project. Thank you so much. This wouldn't be possible without you. I do wish I could name every single person who donated and or their organization. Without their donations, this day isn't possible, and this memorial is not possible. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, and thank you from the Benevolent Fund.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Retired firefighter Brad Speakman will now lead us in the dedication of the Lakeview Road Memorial.
Put away from my mouth. Welcome. My name's Brad Speakman. July 2018, I retired from Wilmington Fire Department due to injuries I sustained on September 24, 2016. Since the day of the fire and throughout my recovery, I've looked at how to move forward, wondered how we overcome this. How do we make Lakeview what it should be? A place where we remember how great Artie, Jerry, and Chris were and how they were heroes. To have a new beginning, you have to have someone dedicated to celebrating their memories, like Jeff Shaw and the Lakeview Group. I call them the Lakeview Group because there's so many to name, too many to name. This group helped make it become what everyone needed. For those of us who wondered what Lakeview property could be and wished it could be something more, this is what it should be. This memorial gives us the chance to move on. It gives all first responders and dispatchers, the medics, the police, EMS, and fire service a place where they can pay respects, or where they can sit and think about that night and what was sacrificed for others. It gives future generations somewhere to reflect and to learn to preserve the words we will never forget. Finally, it gives the community a reminder of what was given up protecting them. September 24th is a reality of what can happen when firefighters are dealt the worst. This memorial helps strengthen us by helping us move forward. This memorial is a place to realize how we can heal. Chris, Jerry, and Artie chose to make a difference. Let us remember them for that. It's with great honor I dedicate this, the Lakeview Memorial, in honor of Captain Christopher Leach, Lieutenant Ardythe Hope, and Lieutenant Jerry Fickes. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Father Murray.
Let us pray. Creator God, Lord of life and death, you fashion each of us in your image and likeness. You challenge all of us to leave this world and the communities in it better off for our having lived, labored, and loved here. We are forever indebted to Jerry Fickes, Ardythe Hope, and Chris Leach for showing us, in the words of St. Paul, how to fight the good fight, how to finish the race, how to keep the faith, making the ultimate sacrifice in their commitment to preserving the lives and livelihoods of others without counting the cost. We entrust their souls to your providential care. Bless, strengthen, and sustain all of us in our daily efforts to follow their example. Jerry, Ardythe, and Chris gave their lives in the most extraordinary way as first responders. Help us to imitate their example by being the first to respond to the needs of others, even in the most ordinary of ways, with extraordinary love. Through the intercession and inspiration of Jerry, Ardythe, and Chris, help us, each in our own ways, to fight the good fight, to finish the race, to keep the faith, knowing and believing that doing what is right and good is its own reward. We ask this in faith. Amen.
Thank you, Father Murray. This concludes the dedication ceremony. You're all invited now to do a drive-by of the memorial, and if you wish, you can wait after the drive-by. You can walk over as well. Have a wonderful afternoon, and thank you so much for attending today.
Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you that are going to participate with the procession, we ask that you let the staff, Wilmington Fire Department staff vehicles out of this parking lot first. They're going to lead the procession. Anyone that is parked in this parking lot here at the park, we're going to have you follow those staff vehicles through the procession. And then all of the apparatus that's parked along South Union Street will follow behind those vehicles that are in this parking lot. Anyone that's parked along the roadway here on Kirkwood Highway, you'll follow up to the next intersection to the left turn lane and follow in behind the apparatus. Again, the apparatus will lead you through the procession area. Unfortunately, the area is pretty narrow, and we will not be able to stop at the memorial.